Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we're going to discuss a bunch of Twitch streamers getting banned for their React meta, and then I'll be answering a bunch of your questions, so go ahead and stick around. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the news, and we only have one story that we are covering today, and that is that Twitch streamers are going through what they classify as a React meta, and they are getting banned for it. Couple of pieces of clarifying information. When I say banned, I mean suspensions, because ban, that implies a permanent action, a permanent removal from a platform. That is not what is happening. They are receiving temporary suspensions. Twitch, use your words correctly. Suspension and ban are different. Do you need me to send you a dictionary? Twitch, suspension, different than ban. Okay, that's out of the way. And now let me clarify what I meant by React meta. What that is referring to is the largest streamers on the Twitch platform rebroadcasting entire full uncut episodes of copyrighted TV series with themselves in the corner saying, "Oh, wow. Can you believe that? Cool." Yeah, pretty shocking stuff, pretty egregious behavior, pretty clear infringements of copyright, but some of the shows they've streamed are MasterChef, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Death Note, streaming entire uncut episodes, entire seasons of these shows to really drive home the point what the React meta is. Copyright infringement is what the React meta is. Copyright infringement, that's what it is. Now, Twitch has taken some action. You would expect them to, like on YouTube, where you get 3 strikes, you're out. They take down the videos, you get banned from the platform if you do this. Twitch has issued temporary suspensions to Pokimane, which is the most high-profile streamer who has been banned. She got a 48-hour suspension. And then Toast is another streamer. We don't know exactly how long his ban was, but he put out a tweet saying, "I'll see you in a month." We don't know if the ban was for a month or if he received a 48-hour suspension and then decided, you know what, I'm going to take a vacation while I can. I don't think this action is going to satiate the copyright holders. The way it works on YouTube, as soon as YouTube's Content ID system recognizes a copyrighted piece of content, you earn $0 on that. You earn $0 on that. All of the revenue gets sucked up, sent to YouTube. YouTube, here you go, copyright holder. You get all the money from this because you own the copyright, even if it wasn't a primary piece of the video. YouTube is incredibly strict with their copyright enforcement. And I just don't think this is going to satiate the copyright holders. I imagine they got a taste for blood. And the fact that the largest streamers on the platform broadcast their copyrighted TV series in full and earned a boatload of money while doing it, I think they're going to come for that money. Now, on one hand, I am shocked and appalled that anybody could think this is justifiable, that anybody could think they could get away with this. It boggles the mind to think anybody would think, yeah, I can go ahead and do this. I can't think of what mindset you have to be in. Like, if I were to think, you know what, I'm going to broadcast Pirates of the Caribbean while watching it on my YouTube, I would be banned in a second. I don't understand the mindset. But on the other hand, it makes perfect sense why they think they can do this. The reason I'm saying that, if you've been following Twitch for any amount of time, you will remember that over the last couple of years, there was a lot of pushback against Twitch streamers who would be streaming for long periods. They would be a bit lazy, they would want to eat, they would need to take a break, so they would pull up a YouTube video, play it while they sit in the corner eating a sandwich or walking away to go to the bathroom without adding any real commentary, without making it a transformative work. It was just watching somebody else's content on stream and that becoming the stream. And the argument that I heard was, well, we're streaming 8, 10, 12 hours. Do you expect us to be entertaining that entire time? The answer is no. Nobody expects you to be entertaining for 8, 10, 12 hours straight. That would be ridiculous. But also, nobody is asking you, nobody is forcing you to stream 8, 10, 12 hours. You can take a break. You can put up an away screen. You can end the stream to go shopping. You can do whatever you want. But just because you've made the decision to stream for X amount of time and you're unable to fill X amount of time, that doesn't give you the right to rebroadcast somebody else's copyrighted content. But during all of this pushback, during all of this outrage, there were no consequences. There were no real repercussions for the Twitch streamers who did this. So it's no surprise to me why they feel as though they can get away with this. They've restreamed copyrighted content in the past and faced no consequences, so why wouldn't they think they could get away with restreaming other copyrighted content? Regardless of the copyright holder, they got away with it in the past, why wouldn't they do it in the future? And before I go any farther, let me make it abundantly clear, I don't care if you stream copyrighted content. That's your prerogative. I just personally understand that there are companies who hold these copyrights and they have the ability to take legal action against me if I am streaming their copyrighted content. So I choose not to do it. I choose not to do it. It's as simple as that. But you do whatever you want. Restream all the YouTube content. Restream every single movie you want. Just understand there are going to be consequences in the real world. But now let's talk about something that is a little bit more fun and maybe a little bit more informative, and that would be, why are they doing this? Why are they committing such blatant copyright infringement? Why are they broadcasting full episodes of television shows? I heard an incredibly interesting theory, and that is, what if they're doing this to force Twitch to break their contracts? What if they want out of their Twitch contracts, so they are being so egregious that Twitch has no other option than to say, fine, we will fire them all. Please do not sue us, all of these copyright holders, all Warner Media and UMG and whoever. Don't sue us, we fire them all. What if that's the case? I was thinking about this and I thought, okay, yeah, that could be the case. And then I realized that would be a really stupid decision. That would be a really bad move because, yeah, you may get your contract cut with Twitch, but then you have to deal with the legal action of the actual copyright holders, unless there's some kind of crazy clause in the Twitch contract where Twitch has all the copyright liability. All of the legal liability is passed on to Twitch. I can't imagine that being the case, but if that's the case, then maybe. But I highly doubt that Twitch or Amazon's lawyers would allow for a clause like that in the contract. So that means that if these content creators, if these streamers took this action to get out of their Twitch contracts, they would still open themselves up to be sued for this blatant copyright infringement. And I'll talk about what I think the costs might be a little bit later. So I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case. The second would be they think that they're invincible. As I pointed out with the YouTube rebroadcasting, nothing happened, so why wouldn't they think, hey, I can broadcast any copyrighted content and claim fair use and get away with it? Why wouldn't they think that? So that's the second theory. And the third option is maybe they have a misunderstanding of fair use. The way that I've always understood it, the way that I was taught it, was it has to be a transformative work, so it could be cut up or it could have excerpts used for commentary or critique, or it could be a parody of the original. But it has to be some form of transformative work. It can't be a replacement for the original piece of content. And if I can offer my uneducated, non-legal opinion here, I don't think that streaming entire episodes of a TV show that is copyrighted with your face in the corner while offering minimal commentary will hold up as a legal defense for fair use. And that's something that gets misunderstood a lot. Fair use isn't just something you can scream. It's not like bankruptcy, like your Michael Scott, I declare bankruptcy. That's not how it works. Fair use is a legal defense. You have to go to court and argue fair use, and that is the determination of the court. Look at what happened with H3H3. We do have an understanding of what fair use is, but you can still be challenged, and then you have to front all those legal fees to actually fight it in court, or pay whatever kind of settlements the copyright holder is requesting from you. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Regardless of all of that, I have no idea what their thought process was or what the conclusion will be, but I don't think it's going to be a good conclusion here. I think it is going to alter the entire Twitch ecosystem. Some people may think that's a great thing, others will think it's a terrible thing. But I think these streamers who are doing this, are going to get a lot of pushback from the Twitch community at large because they are the big streamers. They are the faces of the platform. They are the bourgeoisie of Twitch, and they are taking actions that are going to harm the little guy on the platform. Little guy or little girl on the platform. They are going to be harming the proletariat, to put it in communist terms, to put it in Marx terms. The bourgeoisie are harming the proletariat through their action. So I think they're going to get quite a bit of pushback. But if I can speculate a little bit more, what kind of conclusion might there be to this? First, maybe nothing will happen. Maybe they'll completely get away with it. Maybe this is all just a marketing ploy. What if that's the case? What if all these anime studios paid them to stream this stuff and get some hype around it, get their names in the news? What if that's what it was? That would be brilliant. That would be brilliant of them. I don't think that's the case, but what if? That would be real smart. I think there will be legal action taken here. I think the copyright holders, these movie studios and these anime studios, will go after the Twitch streamers. And when I was thinking what kind of fees might be implemented here, I was thinking, okay, well, maybe they would have to pay the fees to get a license to broadcast these. I don't think those licenses to broadcast TV shows are particularly cheap. I went ahead and looked up a couple of figures. This is not going to be a one-to-one comparison. For example, Friends is a really high example. $30 million a year for Netflix to get the rights to stream Friends. That's a lot of money. And then I found another article. I don't know how accurate this is. It's some kind of anime site. They were saying that for AAA titles, which I am assuming Death Note and Avatar Last Airbender are, it can cost $250,000 to $500,000 an episode to get the license to stream it. So if they are streaming entire seasons of these shows, that would be a big fee. That would be a large licensing fee. And they just completely bypass that. It'll be really interesting to see what comes with that. It's going to be shocking. But I think that's probably going to be the outcome. I don't think they're going to get away with streaming entire seasons of TV shows while earning a boatload of money. I think the copyright holders will come for them. And I think they will do something like that. Say, okay, you broadcast it, you must pay a licensing fee. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Now, when it comes to DMCA and copyright stuff, this happened on YouTube years ago. It happened over a series of years, and people were pissed. People were super angry, saying, I can't believe that YouTube is doing this. They are violating the trust of their users. They're ruining the platform. How dare they? I'm leaving YouTube for this other platform where I can still upload full videos. There were people doing that, and my thought was, do you think YouTube really wants to be doing this? I bet YouTube hates this crap. The reason they're doing it is because they're facing legal action. They're doing it because they have to. And when these people were moving platforms saying, I'm done on YouTube, I'm going over here, I was saying, it's coming for you. Copyright is copyright. Regardless of the platform you're on, you still have to abide by copyright law. When you're online, laws still exist. Laws still apply to you. You don't just get free reign to do whatever you want because you're online or because you're on a different platform that has not implemented copyright protections yet. And I think that's what we're finally starting to see. YouTube did this years ago. Now the copyright owners, the copyright holders are going after the copyright infringement on all of the other platforms where people thought they were safe. It reminds me a lot of a story I just heard Darren O'Neill talking about. Darren O'Neill is a podcaster, and he was talking about people complaining about, I think it was the Cash App. They were saying, I can't believe that the Cash App is reporting me to the IRS, so I have to pay taxes on this money. Next thing you know, the IRS, the government, is going to require me to pay taxes on the money I earned from busking on the street. They already do. They already do. What you're doing is called tax evasion. You big dummy. You already have to pay taxes on that. What you are doing is called tax evasion. Just like when you are broadcasting copyrighted content without receiving a license before you do so, that is copyright infringement, whether the platform you are on has any kind of protections against it. You are still breaking copyright law when you do that. Just like when you earn money while you're busking and you do not report that to the IRS, you are still committing tax evasion. Mind-boggling. It's the same thing here. You've always been violating copyright while doing this. People are just finally catching on. I mean, you do you. I'll link 2 articles. There's the one about the Friends price, $30 million, and then the anime licensing, $250 to $500K an episode. I don't know how accurate those figures are, but it's what I was able to find. This is going to be interesting to watch because I can't imagine a TV network doing something like this and broadcasting to 100,000 people a TV show or a movie they didn't receive the license for. They would be sued in a heartbeat. So I don't see how this would be any different. Do whatever you want, though. I don't care. Stream all the copyrighted content you want. It's your life. It's your money. Spend it however you deem fit. All right. I think that's all I wanted to talk about. I guess what I've been testing, I'm using the RE20. I'm going to be re-reviewing it, and I'm pretty darn familiar with it. I've been using the microphone for 4 or 5 years at this point. I bought a new one so I can make sure I'm not skewing the results with a broken one, and it's fine. It's fine. I noticed that it picks up a lot of bumps at the desk. The SM7B kicks its butt in that department, but I get why people like it. Just not my favorite for my voice. People are going to say, oh, but it's so much better. It's so much more condenser-like. More power to... Why did I sound like that? Turned into like an anime girl or something. I don't know. All right. Let's dump to my favorite part of the show, the Ask Bandrew segment. We are going off the rails. All right, welcome to the Ask Bandrew segment. If you have questions, you can go to askbandrew.com. There are instructions on how to send in audio, video, and text questions. I do prefer audio and video because then I don't have to read. I'm bad at reading, I'm slow at reading, and you will see I will mess up a lot of words. So send in the audio and video. First email comes from Allison. She says, just a quick one. Have you noticed any level issues when using Pro Gear while chatting on Discord? I have a Samson C01 condenser running into a DBX286S and then via a DI box to my PreSonus Audio Box 22 VSL DI boxes because PreSonus says their preamps on this box don't like line level inputs. I have to crank the levels way up to be clearly heard on Discord voice or video chat. Good levels in Reaper are just way too quiet according to Windows and Discord. What's going on here? Allison from England. Allison, I'll tell you what. I have no idea what's going on there. I have not run into that issue, and I spent an hour and a half testing this out. I pulled out my DBX286S, which I haven't used in years. I pulled out my audio box, which I haven't used in years. I tracked down my Rupert Neve DI box, the only DI box I have, which I haven't used in years. And I spent an hour and a half testing this. Exact same setup, well, minus the interface and probably a different DI box. But no, I had no issues. I recorded a sample on another computer, but it was all janky. It got all warbly. Larko, please go away. I'm testing something. I'm recording this. But the level was fine. So I don't know what would be causing this. The only thing I can think would be because it's down mixing to mono, maybe you're getting a negative 6 dB pan law compensation. If you don't know what that is, if you have two identical signals that are on a stereo track pan left and right, and then you were to down mix to mono, the signal would increase by 6 decibels. So a pan law compensation would say, okay, when you down mix, decrease both sides by -3, and then you get this -6 dB in level. So maybe that's what's going on. Maybe it's down mixing channel 1, which has your mic, and channel 2, which has nothing, it's down mixing that to mono, and then you're getting negative 6 dB. Not 100% sure, but that would be my theory. I haven't looked into what Discord does to audio, but I've never had any issues like that. And I tried to recreate it, I couldn't. Could be that I'm on Mac, I don't know. If anybody knows what would be going on, why is Discord so darn quiet? Let me know in the comments down below. Let Allison know in the comments down below. Sorry I couldn't be more help, Allison. I tried. I spent an hour and a half trying to recreate it and got nowhere and ended up with an unusable recording. It's what happened. So let's jump to the next question, which is a voice submission from Chris. Take it away, Chris.
Hey, Bandrew. This is Chris hitting you up from rainy Oregon on the 10th of October. Just days after your controversial wishes and statements just about brought down Facebook forever. Nobly attempted, sir. First off, I want to thank you for the podcast, the reviews, and even the deuce. I listen to it all, even if the deuce hurts me sometimes. Like everyone, I'm here to ask you a bit about equipment. I'm doing the voice thing on ACX under my regular name, Chris Schaefer, and on Fiverr as Null by Design. And because I'm making some very small amounts of money, like anyone who's a former and failed musician, I immediately wonder, how can I spend that little bit of money, or even more money that I don't have, on gear? It's an addiction, and I have to scratch that itch somehow. Hopefully, just asking questions about it will be enough for the moment. But because I'm asking a question about gear, my tone chain at the moment is a Rode NT1 microphone. I'm putting that through a DBX 286S into a Focusrite 2i2 into the PC. I will include some notes about what settings I'm actually using on the DBX just so you can, I don't know, idly say, hey, that guy sent me numbers. But my question is, as I was touring about the Sweetwater site, I definitely see the DBX also has a full range of 500 series gear, and you did show off your Rupert Neve filled 500 series box. So, at what point does something like a DBX 500 series card, ranking at between $200 to $400, how competitive is that with something in the Rupert Neve category of $600 or more for each of their modules? Is there, like the Neumann microphone, that point at which just because it's more expensive doesn't mean the gear is going to be better, it's just going to be luxury? Where is that crossover for something like a 500 series box between a cheap DBX and a really expensive Rupert Neve box? I'm also going to make sure and ask your community about that on the Discord, because you have definitely referred other people to some of the wonderful folks who inhabit those rooms. Again, thank you for taking the question. We'll see when you get to it in the list, since the last time I heard you had made it to the folks in July. Until then, have a wonderful one, Bandrew, and keep doing the great work that you do here on the internets.
Chris, thank you very much for the voice submission. You sound very, very good. First thing I want to say to you and to everybody, do not spend money that you do not have on audio gear. Do not go into debt for audio gear. Do not go into debt for anything that is not essential, like a vehicle or a home or food. In those cases, I understand it. If you have to go into debt for those, I get it. But for something like audio gear, when you have a perfectly functioning setup, please, for the love of the few things good in this world, do not go into debt for it. I know you were just joking, but whenever I get a chance, I will get on my soapbox and scream. Do not go into debt for this crap. Please do not do that. Okay, where's the crossover for 500 series racks from the DBX to Neve stuff? I am unable to speak from personal experience about the DBX stuff. I will say this. DBX is more than competent with their audio gear. It is kind of limited. It's kind of boring, but it's functional. It's functional and it's affordable. When you get to the Neve stuff, when you get to the SSL stuff, when you get to the API stuff, you're buying that because you want the specific tone, the specific coloration that you're getting from that maker. SSL, API, and Neve all have very unique tones. I know that the API 500 series stuff, people love using that with the SM7B because it makes it so gosh darn punchy. The Neve stuff that I have, the Portico, I like those pre's because I found it smooths out the microphone a little bit. It makes it a little bit more pleasing. And with a voice like mine, that's just... I sound like Bobcat Goldthwait. I want a preamp that will make me sound a little bit smoother, a little bit nicer. I need all the help I can get. The Portico stuff for me, that's why I use it. So if you're just buying it for function, DBX is fine. But if you're looking for a specific sound, that's where you get into the higher end stuff. You're looking for a specific coloration from one of these manufacturers. And I found that I like the Portico stuff a lot from Neve. I have the 1073. I have the English-made, whatever the 500 series rack is, the 1073. And I think I prefer the Portico to it, even though it's half the price. Just whatever you want. It's all about, and let me make this very clear. When you're switching preamps, it does have an impact on the sound, but not nearly as noticeable as changing microphones or anything like that. Unless you have a noise issue, something like that, the changing of the preamp will have an impact, but you are going to be splitting hairs. This is very nitpicky stuff, choosing the preamp. I know people will say, the preamp is the most important part. I get it. I understand you. I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to point out that it is not going to make a terrible sounding microphone, a terrible sounding recording. It's not going to turn that into gold. You can make an amazing sounding recording with affordable gear. You can also make terrible sounding recordings with amazing gear. And the preamp is not going to make a massive difference there. That's my stance on it, although I know people will disagree with me. Okay, this is a long email. By the way, thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate you. Next, we have an email. I'm going to try to downsize this because it's a long one. I'm currently looking to upgrade my microphone setup. Currently, he's using the MV7 and the AG06. He's a live streamer, and he's in an untreated room. He's between the Austrian Audio OC18 and the RE20 and the SM7B. The use case, live streaming 5 to 6 hours in an untreated room with the price point of the two mics and accessories being very similar. Which one would you recommend? Okay, let me go ahead, and I've recorded some samples. I pulled out, yes, because I have no life. I pulled out the Yamaha AG03. I got that set up. Then I recorded the OC818, the RE20, and the SM7B. I do agree that the OC818 or 18 for you, probably not the best option because it will pick up a little bit more room tone. And I think I said this in the test. So it's going to come down to your personal preference. If you're really concerned with background noise, I did find that the SM7B picks up a little bit more background noise than the RE20, but if it's not the biggest concern, then it's going to come down to the tone of what you want. So I can't tell you which one you like the tone of better because I'm not you. You have to determine which one you like the tone of. Let's jump to the tests. Okay, I have the Yamaha AG03 connected. I do not have the compressor or EQ or the effect turned on. Currently, I have the OC818 because I don't have the OC18. My gain is set at 1 o'clock, 48 volts on, and the fader at unity gain. And this is the sound we are getting. I am on the cardioid mode, no high pass filter, no pad. I think I just popped the microphone. I apologize, but I do agree that it would be less than ideal to get a microphone like this in an untreated space. You may run into a few too many issues with room reflections and ambient noise. And because of that, I will go ahead and shut this off and switch over to the other two microphones that you mentioned. 1 second. And first up is the SM7B. I am running directly into the AG03. My gain is set at 100% and the fader is at unity gain. Still no compressor EQ, still no effect. And this is what it's sounding like. I will be quiet. And before I switch over to the RE20, both of these are great microphones. If I remember correctly, I do believe the RE20 did a better job at background noise rejection than the SM7B, if that matters to you. So let me go ahead and switch over to the RE20 now. Now I am on the RE20. I decreased the gain dial by 1 notch to 4 o'clock. Still no compressor or EQ, still no effect, and the fader is set at unity gain. No 48 volts phantom power, no pad, no inline preamps for this or the SM7B. This is just running directly into the interface, or the, as they call it, mixing console, so you can hear exactly what you would be getting without any additional investment. I suppose I should be quiet so you can hear the noise floor of the RE20 just like I did with the SM7B, so I will shut the heck up. And that's about it. It really comes down to personal preference with these microphones. They're both great sounding mics. Do you want a brighter, more extended top end that I find to be a little bit less smooth? Or do you want a slightly more mid-forward but more smooth-sounding microphone in the SM7B that is also a little bit quieter? Up to you, personal preference. I can't tell you which one to get because you're the one who's going to be using it, and you are the one who needs to like it. Okay, hopefully that test was helpful. I don't know if it was, but I'm wasting my entire day doing these tests. Okay, next question, because I need to find a life. And now let's jump to a voice submission from Sean. Take it away, Sean.
Hello, Bandrew. I'm trying to move into voiceover work, narration, and storytelling, perhaps even voice acting in the future. What exercises would you suggest to improve my performances in terms of technique and reading longer passages of written dialogue? Where might I post samples to get constructive feedback? Thank you for your consideration. Please bring pizza pronto.
That is a very good question. How do you get better at reading long passages, and where should you post to get constructive feedback? The first thing I would recommend is practice, 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 and then practice, practice, practice some more. And then guess what? You're going to do even more practicing. You're going to practice again and again and again. Look at what I do. I upload myself reading poorly Grimm's fairy tales to my personal channel because, well, it's mainly to test out microphones, but I know how difficult it is to read words on a page in a decent way. And the only way to get better at it is to do it more, and then do it even more. And then get better at it. Practice more. And then determine what you're doing wrong. Listen back to it. Say, oh, gosh, I really screwed up that word. Oh, gosh, you can really hear the edit there. Oh, gosh, why did I pronounce that word weird? And then you will just keep doing that over and over and over again. That's my approach to everything. Just brute force it. Just do it so much that you can't help but improve. I've done almost 300 episodes of this podcast. I've done over 500 reviews. I've done probably over 1,000 videos, and I still have a lot of improvement to make. So that's my advice in terms of improving on your reading. Practice, 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 listen, be critical of yourself, and then practice more. As far as where to post to get constructive feedback, I don't know the name of it. I believe there are a few voice acting servers. I imagine they have a feedback forum there where you could upload your audio and say, hey, let me know what you think. Processing, performance, what do you think? Or you could go the YouTube route, but that's going to be more difficult to get traction and to get people to recognize the video or get it picked up by the algorithm to get the feedback. So I would say find a voice actor Discord server, and they'll likely have a place to do that. Hopefully that was helpful. I know it's probably not what you want to hear. Just put in the hours. And that's how you get there. And the last email comes from Jasper. They say, hey, Bandrew, I've been watching your video for 4 years now, hoping that one day I'll buy a studio setup. Now that I have to buy it, I have no clue what to get. I have $200 Canadian for an interface and a microphone. that can record good vocals and acoustic guitar. Hope you see this mail. Okay. This budget is extremely limited. $200 dues to get vocals, acoustic guitars, and an interface. Because this is so limited, I am assuming, I'm guessing I'm wrong, but I'm assuming because otherwise it's going to be really difficult. I'm assuming you already have a microphone stand, an XLR cable, and a pop filter. I'm assuming that. So that means we only have to pick out an interface and a microphone. Microphones, perhaps. For the interface, we don't have many options. So I am going to say the M Audio M-Track Solo, I think it was. That costs $50. Is it amazing? No. Will it be functional? Yes. It will function. It will allow you to record. It's a great starter interface for $50. You can't really argue. $50. That's sweet. That's a sweet deal. And then, if we were just doing acoustic guitar, I would say maybe the SE Electronics SE7. That's a small diaphragm condenser. I actually think I got it right over here. Somewhere around here I have it. Maybe it's not over here. We'll say this is it. That is the SE7 that I am holding up in front of the camera. It is a small diaphragm condenser. Put this right in front of the guitar, maybe a foot away, pointed at the 12th fret, angled slightly towards the sound hole. You'll get some great sounds. Also, I found them pretty enjoyable for spoken word. Not 100% sure about singing. I'm sure it would work for that. But the other option would get you 2 microphones for about $120 as well. And this is USD. It would be the MXL 990-991 kit. That's $120 for 2 microphones, large diaphragm condenser, and a small diaphragm condenser. So you could have the LDC for vocals and the SDC for your acoustic, or you could get funky, do 2 mics on the acoustic, do everything that you want, run that into the interface, and you should be good to go. So those are the 2 options that I would pick, and that would get you to $170 USD. Once that's converted to Canadian dollars, I don't know, what would that cost? $10,000? Probably around $200. So I think that's a fair setup to start recording vocals and acoustic guitar. Hopefully that was helpful. Wait, did you say acoustic guitar? You did, okay. Not electric, acoustic guitar, good. There you go, that's my pick. Hopefully that was helpful, Jasper. Like I said, Chris, was it Chris? Sean, practice. I still can't do it. I still can't read. Jasper, thank you. Okay. And to wrap out this week's episode, we have another movie of the week, and this week's movie is a spooky one. It is called Paranormal Activity from 2009. I am sure everybody has heard of it, but I rewatched this last night. It still holds up. It still scares the crap out of me. It is incredibly, incredibly effective. And I was trying to think why it is so effective, why it still scares me. And I think that the most effective horror films are ones where the audience is able to imagine themselves in that situation. A perfect example of this is the movie The Strangers. If you've never watched this, go watch it right now. It will scare you to death. And also, spoiler alerts. The reason why that's so effective is there's a woman in a house and there are people who break in and try to kill her and in the end effectively do. And when she says, "Why are you doing this to us?" the response, "You were home. You were home. That's why we did it to you." Could it be any more effective at allowing you, the audience, to be in that situation? If you've ever been home, if you've ever been at your home and you've heard somebody knocking, could have happened to you. If you've ever been home alone, could have happened to you. It takes place in the suburbs in a regular home in San Diego, California. It doesn't take place in some kind of James Wan-style dark horror house in Transylvania with cobwebs in the 1800s. No, it takes place in your neighborhood, in your house. That's why it's effective. The footage of them just sleeping in bed. How many of us, when we were kids, when we were scared, we would jump into our bed, hide under the covers? That's where the haunting takes place, in your bedroom, in your bed. You cannot escape even hiding under the covers. You can't escape from it. That's why it is so effective. That's why the movie The Strangers is so effective. You could be the one if you are ever at home. If you live in a bed, if you sleep in a bed, if you live in a bed, I understand your pain. But if you sleep in a bed, then this could happen to you. If you live in a regular house, this could happen to you. If you live in a regular neighborhood, this could happen to you. That's why it is so effective, and that's why I enjoyed it so much. Do not watch it unless you want to be scared, because it does it so well. I actually want to share a story with you because I saw this in theaters and it still cracks me up to this day. Spoiler alerts, by the way, if you are going to watch this and you haven't seen it, skip this bit. At the end, the main girl throws her boyfriend against the camera and he's dead. Then text pops up on screen and says, yeah, they found his dead body and the woman, her whereabouts are still unknown. When that popped up, behind me, I don't know how many rows, I just hear somebody scream, "Oh, hell no!" and then get up and run out of the theater. Just proof how effective it is because somebody in the audience had to vocalize how upset and disturbed they were by the movie, how impactful it was on them. So when you watch this and the end credits roll, just remember, oh, hell no. That's my movie of the week, and that's going to wrap up for this week. This was a difficult episode to record. I was off my game today. Rough. A rough one. I'm not barking. I'm saying it was a rough one. I wouldn't be surprised if I started barking because I'm so off my game. Woof, woof. I hate everything about this episode. I hope it's salvageable because this was terrible. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you being here and sharing your time with me. I hope you have an amazing Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will talk at you. I appreciate you so much. Let me know what your thoughts are on all of this stuff, and I will talk to you next week. I love you. Goodbye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.